I got a BBL and didn't pay my medical bill. Should I be worried? A $14,000
Victoria's Secret card.
Victoria's Secret credit card. How do you fix people's credit? Like, all right, they come to you. What is up, you guys? Welcome back to another TCR podcast with your boy Impromando, episode 126, baby. And today we don't have Lily Babe, but we have someone all the way from Iztapalapa de la Sal. ¿Sí o no?
Yeah, yes, sir.
Iztapalapa de la Sal. And he came for one reason and one reason only, to tell us, why did this lady have a $14,000
Victoria's Secret card. Man.
Victoria's Secret credit card? We're going to start right there. And then we'll get into everything else.
Yeah,
but tell us about that, bro. Come
Man,
on.
it was honestly, it was a surprise for all of us. It's like the call to office. Hey, me está demandando el banco. It's like, for what? And it was like, hey, Victoria's Secret credit card. Okay, what's the balance? It's like $14,000.
You've never seen that before?
No.
$14,000
for a Victoria's Secret. We've always seen Victoria's Secret credit cards, but you're talking about $1,000, $1,500 for $14,000 on Victoria's Secret. I was like,
you had to ask her, what'd you buy? Did you ask her?
No.
I guess you can't really get into that.
No, we
That's
can't.
$14,000. Imagine how many tangas, how many pink t-shirts, how many bags just like you have to buy to freaking go up to $14,000 in, I don't know, 1, 2, 3, 4 years. I don't know how long, but that's $14,000.
And it wasn't that long. That credit card was like a year old, man.
In a year, 14
mil.
Oh my God, you could buy a fucking car with that.
Yeah. And I was like,
damn. But let's get to it. What is up, Israel? We got him all the way from
Estado de Mexico.
Estado de Mexico. Who are you? Come on, give us a little introduction.
So, man, Israel, dueño de Cordova Financial, but no, le ayudamos a la gente to get approved for stuff, get money, to be able to buy a house, invest in their business. Look que necesiten. Whatever you need to do to get with the bank and get money. Nosotros le ayudamos a la gente.
Love that.
Yeah.
How long you've been doing this?
5 years, man. Ya 5 años. Desde el 2020 empezamos.
¿Y cuántos clientes?
Más de 5,000 right now.
5,000. That's a lot. So it looks like you have a good track record, right? Yeah. Out of those 5,000, how many have been successful, you think? What percentage?
Oh, man. Our percentage, I think the last time I checked was like 79%.
That's a lot, man.
Yeah.
Like, they're happy. Leaving the building, 79.
Yep.
And if you're in business or you're in a coffee shop or anything, to have a 79, close to 80% like return rate or happy, that's super high.
Yeah.
That's super high. I mean, some businesses you see 20, 30 and they're happy with that. But for you to have 70, that's impressive, man.
It's because at least on the credit side, like in the industry, you have to push to try to get, the change of mentality de la gente, que empiecen a cambiar cómo miran las cosas.
Sí.
The most successful client or el most impact que podemos hacer con alguien is that they understand what they did wrong.
Okay.
We help them fix whatever they did wrong, but to change the way, like, hey, this is what you did wrong last 2 years. Cambia esto.
Okay.
Y de aquí para adelante, hazlo de esta manera. And then once we get across and they're like, oh, okay, that makes sense. Okay. That's the biggest impact que tenemos con la gente cuando they understand lo que pasó mal, and then they're able to shift that mindset.
Gotcha. So it's hard, right? Because you're in the business and everything, but did you always have great credit?
No, man. That's the reason I got into this.
Oh, really?
Yeah, eso lo que me trajo a research, because I was trying to buy a house.
Okay.
And then we actually reached out to a realtor, started looking. And then all of a sudden, we're like, man, this is the perfect house. Esta es, don't look any further. And then the realtor's, all right, who are you pre-approved with? And we're like, what are you talking about? And they just caught me off guard at the moment. It's like, están bien enamorados con la casa and they couldn't buy it. And then I'm like, nah, we're not pre-approved. She's like, oh, okay.
Oh, man.
Call this number, get pre-approved. She assumed that I had good credit because of the job that I had at the time. So she's like, hey, man, then I've heard that place that pays pretty good. Sí me pagaban bien, pero yo estaba irresponsablemente usando todo el dinero. So I was like,
that's crazy.
Pero I got to research, busqué cómo componerlo, and I was like, took me like a year and a half, y pues ya sabes, la casa se fue.
Sí, pues ya no va a estar, no te estaba esperando ahí.
No me iba a esperar a mí.
Yeah, well, that's what happens a lot, and I've seen that a lot. People are like, They drive by a house. Oh, it's for sale. Oh, I want a house. I want that house. They fall in love with that house. They're like, they already see their car parked in there and they just visualize it. Y se enamoran, right? With the house. But what ends up happening is that this house is, so sometimes, right? This house is too expensive for what they could, ¿cómo se dice?
What they can buy.
What they can buy,
afford,
what they can afford. And people do it the opposite way. Instead, I mean, I'm no financial guru here, but what I've seen a lot of people do, you first go to the bank, you see what you get approved for, the max or whatever you're comfortable with, and then you go home shopping. But people do the opposite. You know, their heart drops when they're that home that they can't get. They really thought, you know.
Empiezas a pensar, you look at the house, you're like, man, you know,
they
this is where I'm
themselves.
going to put my grill at. This is where I'm going to have the carne asadas and stuff like that. And it's just, you're visualizing everything. And después te dicen, no, you know what? You can't buy this one. And then that kind of just sinks in like, man, ¿qué pasó?
That sucks.
Yeah.
Why would you say credit is so important?
It gives you access to money, man. Cuando realmente se necesita el dinero for whatever reason that you're looking for, like if you're trying to buy a car, if you're trying to get a house, or business owners that are trying to get money, that's when you can reach out to the bank and be like, hey, you know, I need this money for whatever specific reason que andas buscando dinero. Si es que para negocio, whatever. And it's like, whenever you need it, it's actually there, you know? So it's just a way to open the door to whatever capital you want to use. Para lo que quieras.
Yeah, because, I mean, I've seen these stories so much, and it happens a lot. You know, you wanna take a credit card out when you're like 18 or 20 or whatever, but it ends up being that your parents used your name for whatever reason to go open up a credit card at the supermarket or some random crap. And they're like, I just won't pay. I just got $500 for free. But that's because of ignorance. You know, they just don't know. It's not their fault. They just don't know that they're messing up their kids' credit. And I've seen these situations a lot. I've seen it even in movies. But how do you fix this? How do you know, if you went through that back at home, if they came to you, what do you tell them?
So there's a thing. There's a time frame that things can be in your credit. So they make an application for something, they get a credit card. Even if you're underage, it can only stay there for 7 years. Y después de ahí solito se tiene que quitar after 7 years. So if they did something whenever you were 12 and, you know, by the time you get to be 20, como quiera ya no va a estar because it's gone. But if they do it recently when you're already in your teens, you know, 16, 17, it's going to be there for sure whenever you turn 18 and you get your credit. But, you know, first thing you want to do is dispute it because you were underage at the time. You don't necessarily have to say, hey, my parents were the one that got it. You just dispute it. And how can I possibly have an account from 4 years ago when I was 16?
Right.
You know, how can I possibly have that? And 9 times out of 10, it all takes for you to dispute it and be like, they look at your date of birth and be like, oh, yeah, this account doesn't make sense. Boom, y lo quita.
I love that.
Yeah, so they can actually get that gone for whatever the situation pasó con sus papás. But, you know, we've seen that on credit files. And actually, padres of those hijos nos han contactado a la office and be like, hey, you know what? I did this, and my kid was 16, and now they're looking to buy their house.
Oh, okay.
I want to pay for them to get their stuff fixed because I was the one that did it.
Oh, that's amazing.
And I'm like, oh, man,
Can't
boy,
beat
we
that.
jump on it.
Yeah.
And it's just like that. You know, you dispute it, and you just, on that dispute, hey, how can this account be on my credit file? See, I was 16. And you can't even have a credit card when you're 16 unless, you know, as an authorized user card.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, no. Typically, esas they come off pretty easy.
Those are easier.
Yeah.
But a lot of people, they end up being like, oh, well, I can't get it. And se acabó. They don't even try after that. You know?
Yeah. Es que a veces falta la información.
Yeah.
And people are not informed. So they're like, you know what? Le dicen que no en un banco. And they're like, you know, no
It's
se
over.
puede. Y ya. And then start to research and be like, hey, let's see how we can actually do it. And then we see that a lot with cars, man. And co-signing for cars. Yeah, me prestas tu crédito para ir a comprar una mamalona.
Y ahí van.
And then they have it for 6-8 months. And all of a sudden, viene el banco a levantar la camioneta. And the person like que firmó gets their credit ruined. And all of a sudden, the person, hey, man, let me ask another cousin. A ver si me firme con otra.
Why would you say co-signing is not a good idea? Even for like couples, let's say.
Man, it's just like if you're co-signing, there's two people they're liable for that money. El co-signer basically le está diciendo al banco, hey, si él no te paga o ella no te paga, yo te pago. That's what the co-signing means. It means, hey, you're gonna get your money regardless. You know, yo lo voy a poner si él no lo pone. So if you're comfortable saying that to a bank for somebody else, go for it. Si no, mejor espera.
So you're better off prestándole una feria.
Yeah, you're better off that way.
If hopefully they pay you, but that's probably the best bet than co-signing because you're putting your name on the line.
But if you have perfect credit, y alguien viene y te dice, hey, you co-sign for this car for me, what you can do is you can add them to your credit cards as an authorized user y le pasas toda la información de las credit cards to their name, and that builds their credit profile. Y después, muy posible that they can go and get the car on their own. Y no hay liability para ti, no hay risk para ti.
Yeah, I like that.
But it's better to do that because then ahí no tienes la responsabilidad del carro. But if you go co-sign it, now both of you guys got to make sure there's payments. You're locked in.
So it doesn't matter if the main or the co-signer, it doesn't matter who it is. They're both liable.
Yep.
Damn.
Y los dos, hey, the guy that has the car hace un pago tarde, both don't get hit.
Yeah.
Los dos.
What about like, for example, I've seen this situation too, is that I buy a truck or a car, right? And I can't pay it. Y le digo a mi primo or a mi tío, hey, can you finish paying it off? Like, does that affect anyone?
As long as they make the payments, todo está bien. Yeah, like if you le pasas el carro a un family member, you're good. As long as the payments are done on time.
Okay. It doesn't matter who's paying it, as long as it's getting paid.
El banco no le importa quién le está mandando el dinero. As long as they get their money, they're like, hey, it don't matter.
I see a lot of people use points like on their Amex cards and just points all over. Can you guide us through that and what's the best way or what are the top credit cards for it?
So there's several. I mean, if you want to start with Amex, I wouldn't go right into the gold, but the blue cash for anybody diving into first credit. And then Amex is really good because nomás te van a checar el crédito one time.
Oh, wow.
Once you get your first credit card, all the other ones are soft pulls. Nomás van a mirar that you have been using the other one good, and then you're good to go. But the blue cash, that one has a lot of cash back and points that you can turn to free flights, hotels, or comidas, wherever you want to go, or makeup if you want to go get makeup. Guys, if you want to go to Home Depot and get free stuff, you can turn it into whatever gift cards you want to turn it into. But your purchases, every purchase puts points into that and starts building those points. Yeah. And then those points can be turned into gift cards, or you can pay down whatever balance you have on your credit card.
With those points.
With those points.
So you end up getting like pretty much free money through your credit card.
Through your credit cards.
But, all right, all this sounds good, right? All this sounds good and it's points and people give you money and all that. But it doesn't work out unless you have a right, like ¿cómo se dice? Like a right system.
Yeah.
A system. How do you start from A to end up with this great credit score and always paying things off? What do you recommend?
Man, I think it's la manera de mirar el dinero has a lot to do with it. Like if you get a credit card and you're like, ooh, I got extra money. Then you're like, you're setting up for yourself a failure. Porque si no, vas a you know what? I just put it on the credit card. You got to look at it. Whatever money you have in el banco, that's what you can spend on the credit card because that's what you can actually pay back. Y si empiezas a mirarlo de esa manera, it's just, you're using the credit card for convenience and maybe free stuff. But if you start using it because you're like, I got $1,000 and then I can pay $50 a month until I pay it off.
Gotcha.
Then you're paying interest. There's no points. There's nothing because the interest is going to eat up those points, man. So if you pay it in full every month, no interest, and you get points, you get rewards. And then you can, if you book a hotel and you have an Amex, right before you fly or you get to that city, you call them up. And then you're like, hey, I booked a regular room, but I'm an Amex holder. Can I get an upgrade to a suite? And 9 times out of 10, they're like, hang on a second, let me check. If they have one available, they'll upgrade you, no charge.
Why do you think that happens?
Amex, they see Amex users like people that are going to spend more money within the city. So they want to accommodate all the time.
Oh, wow.
They quieren dar algo mejor. So if you call up or you can do it on their website. Either or, you can call or go to the website and text on there. Be like, hey, I booked a room with you guys. I'm landing, tomorrow morning. I'm actually on the way there. I booked a room. Can I get an upgrade? I'm checking with you guys. 9 times out of 10, you can upgrade to a suite.
Yeah, you can't beat that. And I guess they see that, all right, well, we upgrade him. He'll probably even spend more here in room service. he'll take care of us, and it's like a level up. I guess
They do that,
that's
man.
that's cool. I love that. I mean, these are a little bit of little pearls that Israel is throwing at us, but I want to know how do you fix people's credit? Like, all right, they come to you, and what is the science or the system behind it? Because honestly, I'm curious to know, and I want to know, and I'm pretty sure the people back at home kind of
So the thing is, that's the part of the boring side of it. But every consumer has the right to have the same stuff reported in all three companies.
Okay.
And we look at it like that. We look at your report, see what's different from one to the other, and then we send a request for investigation.
Oh, wow.
Once it comes back 30 days later from the bureaus, a lot of times they'll BS you with like, hey, we don't recognize what you're trying to dispute. They'll give you some bogus stuff because that normally stops the average person. It's like, man, I tried it, didn't work, and then they just stop. And what we do when we get those bogus back from them, we forward it to our attorney and like, hey, we have a legitimate dispute, and these guys are not willing to do nothing about it. Attorney takes that, files in federal court, and we go after whoever it is that's reporting the information wrong.
So what I'm getting is that you do all the boring work.
Yeah.
And you could tell people to do all this, but it takes time, it takes effort, it takes maybe even a bigger team to do so.
Yeah.
Because anyone back at home could do it.
Yeah, they can. Yeah. So and usually I publish, videos con información so people can do it on their own. But if you're too busy, I have a team that has been doing this for 5 years. Oh, okay. So they do this every single day. It's like cuando andan alguien trabajando, pintando una casa, they're out roofing. They do this stuff every day. We do it every day.
They have the system.
Yeah, they got the system. They're like, hey, this is exactly how I do it.
Okay.
When you go get a haircut, that guy's doing that every day.
Yeah.
That's how he gets really good at it. And that's the same thing with us. We do that every day. And over 5,000 clients already.
That's crazy. That's 5,000 clients. It's easily said, but it shows that, credibility. And that's just the most important part, because you see a lot of these people on social media, que I'll fix your credit in 30 days and no sé qué, and they end up quemándose, right?
Yeah.
What's going on there? What's the behind the scenes with those 30-day guys? I don't know. I don't want to burn nobody, pero how's that work? Because I see that a lot.
Yeah, there's people that advertise this. Hey, we'll get done tomorrow. But here's the thing: there's people in the industry that do a fake police report. They'll go online and create a fake police report. Now they send that over to the credit bureaus, and the credit bureaus automatically have to take everything that's included in that police report until they finish the investigation. So people will contact one of these companies. They'll send that report and boom, automatically gets wiped because it's by law they have to do it. Now they start an investigation on the police report, and 3 months later, everything comes back to the credit report with a mark on the top that says, hey, this person filed for identity fraud, but it was actually not true. So all of a sudden, you just made things a whole lot harder to be able to actually fix things. Wow. But there's companies out there advertising that. They're like, hey, 30 days, we're done. It doesn't take 30 days.
It's impossible,
It's impossible to do that. We work with an attorney that handles the back end work for us, and it could go 3 to 6 months for us to be completely through. So somebody that tells you, hey, we're going to be done in 30 days, they're lying to you and they're trying to take your money.
That's crazy. I have a lot of questions from my Instagram that people, I pretty much said, ask us anything. And there's a lot, man. There's a lot. I'm going to separate these. I'm going to, ask one right now. We'll take a quick break and then we'll come right back to get like the top ones. But the number one question, I saw it like 3 times. It says, I owe a lot of debt. Should I just file for credit card bankruptcy?
If you feel like it's overwhelming and it's too much, I would say you can. Because you can always leave, like if you're a homeowner and you want to leave your house out of the bankruptcy and want to leave your car that takes you back and forth to work, you can. Yeah. And you can just grab all the credit cards, put them into that bankruptcy and wipe all that off. Gotcha. But I mean, if you're overwhelmed and you're like, man, there's no way out of this, that's one option that people have. And then you always want to, take a look at everything you have and make sure you include everything except those two.
Those two, the home and the car.
Home and the car. And they let you keep those two.
The government or the credit knows that you need a home and a car.
Yeah.
And that's why that's...
Whenever you go before a judge, because you always, for bankruptcy, you got to go to court and be able to, talk to the judge, tell him what's going on and why is it that you're filing bankruptcy. And they're like, this is the car that takes me back and forth to work. And this is where I live. So those two things are completely out.
Can't touch
But
us.
Everything else... Gone.
Yeah. Well, yeah. I mean, there you go. Hopefully, you learned something here. Before we go on break, there's actually a question here. Says, I got a BBL and didn't pay my medical bill. Should I be worried? But wait, we're going to take a quick break and then we'll answer this question. Yo, and we are back. Welcome back to part 2 of episode 126 of the TCR podcast. By the way, it's called the Cruda Realidad. So we tell them the real behind the realness.
Yeah.
So we have a question here. And it's crazy that people are sharing these kind of questions, pero pues they want to know, and we're here to answer it, right?
Yep.
¿Sí o no, Rafael?
Yeah.
The question is, I got a BBL and didn't pay the medical bill. Should I be worried?
Man, we actually had a case in the office about this.
Something similar or something like
similar.
What if it's the same girl? Imagínate. Pero ya sabe. A ver.
No, it was very similar. And then I didn't, because a lot of times I don't be looking at all the clients and stuff, but the girls at the office are like, hey man, so we have this case from a girl that got a BBL and now that it's in collections.
Wait, can we see a picture of this girl? I'm just kidding. I'm just kidding.
we can't go that far. But see, it's like, hey, the medical bills are in collections, and we're actually working on that account. And then I didn't hear nothing about it afterwards. But then when we finally actually got those items de su crédito, bro, everybody in the office was like, bro, we just got BBL debt from a credit report from a person. So le quitaron las cuentas because el collector no lo compró bien and we got it off.
Wow.
So, para la pregunta, should they be worried? It depends,
all cases are different, right?
All cases are different. Si lo venden, I mean, it's once they sell it to a debt collector,
easy money, right?
Then that's it. But I mean, if they don't sell it, then they go after. But we actually had a case con la señora no pagó su BBL, and then.
So I mean, that's BBL, right? But I do hear a lot of people, they go to the hospital or they're in a car crash or whatever the case is, and they don't end up paying that bill because they know that it's not going to get reported or they don't have to pay. Is that true or how's that work?
So medical bills, a trick for everybody que tenga medical bills on the credit file.
Okay.
The law does not let anybody report medical bills if you made a payment in the last 12 months. And it doesn't specify the amount. So no importa cuánto pagues.
I saw the tow truck around my house. My car might get repo'd. What should I do?
Some people don't, do nothing about it. They're like, man, como que da vergüenza salir allá afuera, knowing the tow truck's coming. Los vecinos van a estar mirando that they're coming to get my car or whatever. But if you tell the tow truck they can't take it, they can't take it legally.
Okay.
So no se lo pueden llevar mientras les diga, hey, don't take it. Now, no quiere decir que no vaya a venir luego en la noche cuando estás dormido to come and get it. But, they can't take it once you say no.
Okay, and if they take it,
then you can use that.
Okay. You can use it against them.
Yeah, because now they violated your rights.
Okay.
So si ellos se lo llevan cuando ya le dijiste que no se lo llevaran, because you see them videos on TikTok and Facebook and they start arguing and then they even try to fight the tow truck driver. So once they do that, or that thing is off. If you ended up with a balance that 15,000, 20,000, 30,000, they can't collect that money no more. They actually violated the way they're supposed to pick up the car.
Okay.
Pero si miras videos donde los está correteando and they're running after that tow truck to get the car back. But all you got to do is be like, hey, don't take it.
Okay.
And make sure you have proof, record yourself telling them, que no se lo pueden llevar.
Gotcha. Yeah. All right, next question. How many payments, I mean, it kind of goes with it, right? How many payments can I miss until I get repo'd?
Oh, man. After that third missed
third
payment,
one?
Yeah.
3 months.
Empieza la tow truck.
What if you pay it like you do 3 months and then bam, you pay one payment? Then you're good, right?
Yeah, then you're good. Yeah, as long as you're doing consecutive 3 payments, si dejas de pagar 3 meses seguidos, that bank will let them know. Now, the only thing different Hay mucha gente que compra buy here, pay here.
Okay.
El buy here, pay here is different. Ellos pueden venir después de que pase un solo mes nomás.
Wow.
But a bank, like a national bank, se van a esperar 3 months.
3 months.
3 months, después empieza la tow truck looking for that.
Then you got to be worried.
Then you got to look out the window, man.
But then once that tow truck comes, you tell them don't take it.
They can't take it.
They can't take it.
No se lo pueden llevar. A menos de que you're like, yeah, go ahead and take it. Then you're giving it. One other thing too, tenemos un client that had a truck taken. And inside that truck, he was a guy that used to install radios on people. So you come to your house, install the radio into whatever, do an upgrade, bocinas, or stuff like that, right? He had the equipment inside his car to go install the next morning.
Okay.
Y la tow truck vino in the repo'd his car. So the equipment that was in there disappeared.
Wow.
So quién sabe quién se lo quedó, pero alguien se lo quedó.
Sí.
So that's what we use to eliminate that account from his credit file because they stole from him.
Dang.
Le robaron su audio stuff. He woke up in the morning ready para ir a poner bocinas, and I think it was a radio on somebody's car.
Yeah.
Came outside, the car's gone.
Dang. So there's ways.
Yeah, there's
they
ways.
could mess up, they could slip up, and that's why they contact you.
Yep.
Because you know those loops, you know those loopholes, right?
We can look at how it happened, and we usually le vamos a preguntar a la gente, hey, ¿cómo te quitaron el carro? What happened through the whole process? Y después encontramos qué hizo mal el banco cuando vinieron por ella.
Yeah.
And then we use that and be like, hey, and we question the bank. We'll send them una letter and be like, hey, how did you do that repo? ¿Cómo le quitaste el carro a la persona? And then we audit everything they did, and we look for that one thing that they did wrong because they always have at least
one little slip up.
And then we're like, hey, this was not done by law, man. What happened? And then usually when they come back and be like, you know what? We'll get the account going. Ya quieren dejarlo ahí because they don't want you to keep digging más.
If you keep digging, then you might find something.
Yeah,
then they
you might
get affected
something
more.
Yeah.
Okay. Next question. My tia has an I-10 and stopped paying for all her stuff. Now she has papeles. Should my tia be worried?
Oh, man. And we actually have clients that sometimes, similar
I-10?
stuff like con eso. Because people don't know that. But
what is I-10? Though?
I-10 es a número que te da la IRS to do your taxes. And a lot of Hispanics lo usan para hacer sus taxes. But you can get credit cards. You can get car loans. You can actually buy a house.
Okay.
So you can get anything from the bank as long as you're paying it.
Okay.
But en el caso de ella, si dejó de pagar, once you get your papers, all that information transfer over. So now
it's not like an easy cleanup.
Oh, no se va and just, disappear. No se va a ir. Because even on the I-10 sheet that dice, esto está válido until you get your social. Once you get your social, then the social takes over. Yeah. But that's some of the things that you can still get off of your report, depending on cómo está reportado. But,
Gotcha.
it's... Some people think that, hey, tengo el I-10, tengo free money ahorita, ya luego agarré papeles and it's all good. But no, man, it follows you.
Yeah. ¿Cómo le arreglo a mi hijo para que tenga buen crédito en el futuro, empezando desde ahorita?
Okay, so eso también is a good one. Because I tell you, I got an 18-year-old son.
Okay.
So ahorita que when he turned 18, a month after, we're like, hey, man, let's look at your credit. And he had like 740. Right when he turned 18. So
but no credit history, though.
No, just things that I had added from mine. So yo tengo tarjetas de crédito, ya tengo unas como de 10 años.
Okay.
So when he was 17, I called the banks and I'm like, hey, I want to add my son as an authorized user en las tarjetas de crédito que tengo yo.
Oh, wow.
So now he gets a credit card de la misma que tengo yo that he gets mailed on his name y toda la información de los últimos 10 años go on the profile of his. So I start building that profile for him.
Sí.
Y ahorita he applied for his own credit cards with that same bank. Mm-hmm. But it looks like he's been managing that card. Like he's been using it all this time.
But it's not the case. They don't know that. They think that.
They think that.
Or it could be the case.
And then sometimes you could. You turn 17, 16, le das una tarjeta that is yours. They start using it. They start managing y se empiezan a ser responsables con el dinero. By the time they turn 18, they have good credit and they have understanding of cómo usarla.
Y when they go to your office or when they call you, they don't got to go to your office. We'll leave all his information down below for sure. But are you able to answer these kind of questions or guide people through this when they have these questions, or your team? Is that possible?
Yeah, that's definitely. Yeah, eso es lo que tratamos de hacer con todos primero. Before we can even take you on as a client, We want to look at the credit profile
Okay.
y mirar todo lo que se hizo mal. And then we'll tell you, hey, this is good. You're doing this good. So we've tried to explain the whole thing. Lo bueno y lo malo. And then we're like, here's what we can do for you. And here's what needs to be done.
Okay.
And then you decide whether you want to work with us or not. But
Gotcha.
first, te vamos a decir todo lo que se tiene que hacer.
No tienes que pagar.
No tienes que pagar.
Okay.
There's no charge to schedule a call with the team y mirar qué es the options for you. And then from there, you tell us, hey, the reason I want to do this is because quiero comprar una casa. Or, I want to buy a car. Mm-hmm. Or los intereses del car que ya tienen está too high. And then we work on getting those, better.
Ha habido veces que you're like, nah, no tiene arreglo.
Man, there's some hard ones, but I mean, there's always a way.
Yeah.
Pero there's some of them. There's one guy that
It's
came
not a
with
perfect
us
world, yeah.
over 100,000 diferentes.
Holy
He had
moly.
3 repos.
3 repos.
3 repos.
Le
of
fue
cars.
mal.
Yeah, bad, man, bad.
¿Y luego?
But it took us, I think we worked with him casi un año to get all
That's
that
not
stuff.
a lot, though.
Yeah, all that stuff gone. Because he had a business. So he was a business owner.
Okay.
And at the time, and estaba ganando bien, and all of a sudden, and actually it was a business in trucking, and then something happened with cómo agarraba el trabajo, and then, he had to close the business. Some of the repos were actually semis that he had
that's
bought.
a lot of money.
So he bought them with his personal name, and
Okay.
you're not supposed to do that,
Right.
but he still did it. So then whenever they took the semis, there was repos on his personal credit. Yeah, pero eso nos tardó a while, pero
You cleaned them up.
yeah, we got him good.
Le fue bien.
Yeah, fue bien, but it was like para él fue un cambio de ya, I'll never do that again. Ya, empiezo otro negocio, ya no.
Yeah, well, what happens is that you never learn about this. It's like you either have good credit and you're good, but then, like you said, 70-60% of the people, they don't know. And it's something that, like you said earlier, we were talking, you were like, they should be teaching kids this from school to develop their credit and work on something versus just send them out in the free world, right?
Yeah, that should be part of at least senior year, man. Te deben de decir, hey, man, this is how you manage a credit card. This is how you go prepare para comprar una casa.
Right.
Si te dieran por lo menos eso, they would set you up. Pero nah,
they
don't
just
wanna
send
do
you
that.
out to the free
They're
world.
like, no, go figure out yourself. ¿Cómo le haces?
I don't know if this is a good question for you. This is more like taxes, but I feel like you might know. And I see a lot of people buy that G-Wagon.
Man, it's because that write-off.
Because-
Anything over 6,000 pounds, you can write it
So a
off.
G-Wagon, you purchase it with your business
with your
name?
business name, yeah.
And then?
And you can write off the whole amount of that purchase, man.
So this is how you get a free G-Wagon if you're making the money,
If you're
right?
making enough
So
money,
this is how
yeah.
you get a free G-Wagon if you're making the money and a good write-off. That's how you do it, right?
That's how you do it, yeah. Anything that's over 6,000 pounds. So if
That's
it's
a
a
G-Wagon,
truck,
yeah.
a G-Wagon, the F-250 that I just bought,
Okay.
and that was purchased under the business. It's a complete tax write-off, man.
And then I see a lot of people buy it towards the end of the year, and that's because they want to write all that off, right?
Your tax guy will tell you, hey, you either buy something
or you're
going to have to pay. So you're like, que se lo lleve el IRS, a que me vaya a agarrar un carro nuevo yo, mejor, I'll ride
And
something
the money's
nice.
sitting there, so you might as well.
Yeah.
Because mostly you're taxed because of the money that you're sitting in the bank, right?
Yeah.
Versus...
But the thing is with the G-Wagon or any car like that, you don't have to pay the whole thing. You can just purchase it today. Like, hey, there's
Would a lease work?
Yeah. Well,
Okay.
lease you can write off that whole payment.
Okay.
Yeah. Con un lease. But if you're buying a car, if you sign the documents before December 31st, even if you just gave a down payment of $1,000, you can still write off the whole amount that you're financing because you're financing it that year.
And then that's how you beat Uncle Sam sometimes.
Yeah, that's how
right?
sometimes you can go around Uncle Sam a little bit.
Yeah. I mean, these are, little diamonds, little pebbles that we're just sprinkling in here. And when we started this podcast, we didn't only want to bring in like influencers or famous people. We also knew that it was important to bring local people or people that will bring value to our listeners. And that's why we have you today to at least help us out with a little bit of theory behind, the credit, how to fix it. And that's what we covered, how to fix it, how to build it. And if it's already messed up, who do we contact or what could we do to, take that first step? And that's why we're here today. And I'm excited for you people, for you guys back at home to just think about it, because a lot of people are shy. They're scared to be like, I don't want him to know, or I don't want this person to know about my credit. But it's always that first step to get you into that freedom, right?
Yeah, and it makes it easier. And I tell them, a veces en videos, if you have bad credit, you're living life in hard mode. Hard mode is turned on, bro. Porque es difícil agarrar un carro, difícil agarrar una casa.
It's like you can't level up.
You know, it's hard, bro. It's hard.
Yeah, because you're always stuck.
A lot of people struggling with just traveling, man. It's just like, man, you're paying so much in interest on everywhere else. You're like, man, no hay ni siquiera dar la vuelta.
Yeah. So then once you get that fixed and once you get that situated, then it just feels a little more freedom.
Yeah. It opens a lot of doors también.
And I mean, just to top it off, I feel like I got this theory from a good friend. He's like, it's always better to use the bank's money versus your money, if you manage it correctly. Right? That's the most important thing. And yeah, so that's what we're going to leave it off at. You got any motivation for us?
Man, it's just, like I said, whenever I was trying to buy a house, me dijeron que no, I was like, man, kind of stuck.
Yeah.
But then actually going through, fixing everything, and then being in the house, it's doable. And it's just like, if I did it, now we did it for 5,000 people, and currently there's 1,300 working with us at this point right now, and it's doable for everybody.
There's 1,300 people working
as of right now.
Yeah,
they're
in
active
the process, and 5,000 already done.
And that 5,000 already done.
Wow.
And then, like I said, if all those people are able to do it, you can do it too. But at the same time, you got to look at it. If you focus a little bit of attention into your finances, that's the biggest impact. No matter what president is in office, regardless of quién está ahí, if you manage your money well, te va a ir mucho mejor. It just, focus on your finances, getting better at keeping that money that you're actually earning. Instead of dándosela a los bancos con high interest on different things. You can actually move faster in life, man. Get a little bit ahead.
Yeah, I love that. And I really, really hope that this is not the last time we see Israel here on the podcast. I feel like he dropped a lot of great pieces, a lot of great knowledge. And if you guys have any questions for him, drop it down below, or I'll leave all his information in the description down below so you guys could contact him, contact his team, and he'll be ready for you guys.
Yep.
How fast can you start working on somebody's file, let's say?
Man, typically our schedule is full for like today.
Okay.
But then tomorrow there's available spots to jump on a call. And then once you jump on a call, 15 minutes to go over your credit report, and then
15 minutes.
Yeah, we can go through the whole thing, and then probably takes us another 30 to get all the documents pulled from you and get ready to go. So if you jump on the phone with us, 30, 45 minutes, we can be already working on it.
At least that could be the first step.
Yep.
That doesn't mean they have to pay anything or sign up to anything.
Once you jump on the phone with us, we'll give you all the options que hay para ti.
Prices.
And then prices and all that. And then you're like, okay, I can make a decision whether I'm ready now, or, there's no obligation to start with this whenever you jump on the phone. You can be like, hey, did the whole consultation. Hey, I'll start Friday. I get paid on Friday. We'll start Friday.
Oh, you can even use the excuse, let me talk to my husband.
There you go.
And then you talk to your husband 2 weeks later or 2 days later. And then you figure out what you got to do.
Yeah. Once you have all the information, it's easier to make a decision. Ya cuando dices, hey, okay, esto es lo que tengo que hacer. And then you understand it, you're like, oh, okay. Now it makes sense.
Yeah. Anything else we left out?
I think good, man.
Yeah.
Gracias, man. Thank you for having me here. Yeah.
Well, I had a question. This question should have been at the beginning.
Okay.
But we'll leave it at the end. Why did you decide to join us on today's podcast? For as far as Impromando or Lily Bay or the TCR podcast, why here?
Man, I'm Mexican, and there is, you guys have a lot of Hispanic audience, and then the things, the more people that have better credit in the Hispanic community, más bien nos va todos, honestly. Yeah. If you're able to help out your own raza and make them easier for them to get whatever they're getting. And it just makes it easier for them. And if I can, all your audience, if I can help them in any way, with as far as questions and giving them the information that is going to help them either make more money or save more money, why not?
Love that.
Yeah.
Well, thanks, Israel, for joining us on today's podcast. And hopefully you guys back at home enjoyed today's podcast. And if you haven't, make sure you hit the subscribe button. drop a comment down below and hit the like button. And if you think this podcast might bring any value to your mom, to your tia, to your cousin, share it. Share it because there was a lot of knowledge here. The biggest part that I like is setting up your kids to do better, right? Setting up your kids to do better, but before you do all that, you got to have your shit down packed, right?
Yeah, you got to be able to be set to set them up.
Yeah, you set yourself up and then set your kids up.
Yep.
Or you could do both at the same time. But ideally, set yourself up, make sure your credit score is top of the line or as clean as possible with your help. And that's it for today. Hopefully you guys enjoyed today's podcast. We'll see you guys next week. Nos vemos.
See you guys. Nos vemos. Gracias.